Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to take a look at that new Garbodor, and I want to ask how good it could be, and how much winning it could actually see. Though I am going to tell you right off the bat, this is one of those lists that is kind of hurt by the rotation, so we might not be loving it in the end. But I think there is a chance. If there isn't a chance, we can still play it in Expanded, let's be clear. But I do think this is a deck that absolutely has a chance in Standard. Otherwise, I wouldn't be bringing you the video. So if we start off with Garbodor, then this is a new one that's coming in Vivid Voltage. Just came out in Astonishing Volt Tackle over in Japan. And essentially, we've got an entire deck here. It's one of those that is built around one attack and one attack only. Garbodor, which is a brilliant name. Shout out to Joe at Cerebi.net for that one. For 2 colourless energy, you do 30 damage for each Pokemon tool in your discard pile, and then shuffle all the Pokemon tools from your discard pile into your deck. So the goal here is basically to just get all your tools in your discard pile, and then just keep putting them in, putting them in, putting them in, putting them in, putting them in. For free energy, you can do 80 damage plus poison, but the list I'm going to show you doesn't even play darkness energy, so maybe not that one. The goal is very straightforward and very clear in its focus. Get lots of tools in the discard pile. Keep getting them in the discard pile. Now, the difficulty potentially here is Zeb Striker. Now, Zeb Striker is, without argument, without exception, the card I am most missing due to the rotation. It's got the phenomenal ability Sprint that says once during a turn you can discard your hand and draw 4 cards. Now obviously here what you're doing is discarding your tools and drawing a new hand. The thing is, people told me that Excadrill also wasn't going to be playable post-rotation because of Zeb Striker leaving, and I was worried, because Excadrill wants to draw through his deck as fast as you can and all of that. And Zeb Striker's the best way to do so. Well, I got to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I have been playing a lot of Excadrill over the past few days. And what I've done is I have switched out Zeb Striker for Chinchino. Is it as good? No. Is it viable? Yes. You discard a card from your hand, you draw 2 cards. Chinchino will work, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other thing I want to tell you about here is I want to remind you about the Dust Goal from Cosmic Eclipse. The Dust Goal from Cosmic Eclipse lets you discard 3 cards from your hand, and then you get to search for a Dusclops and evolve into it, but clearly you're not going to be playing Dusclops. It's just a card that lets you discard 3 cards from your hand. So play an aggressive draw engine. Draw lots of cards, and then use Dust Goal to bin them. That will work. That will genuinely, viably, legitimately work. That is my suggestion. Yes, Zeb Striker's rotating. Yes, that's sad. But things like Chinchino and Duskull will work very nicely. And you can still then end up running around and having a play with all of these things. You can get your tools in the discard. You can draw lots of cards. You're losing Zeb Striker, but I still want to talk about the deck because I still think it's viable. Obviously, you're also going to want to be playing Dedenne here because you discard your entire hand, draw 6 cards. Clearly, if you want a quick start, Dedenne is absolutely the card you're going to go for. Yes, you're losing Ditto Prism Star. Again, we'd rather have it, but my Excadrill list hasn't really been that hurt by losing it. I'd rather have it, but it's not killed the deck, so I'm going to be okay here. Now, in terms of energy, we've got a bunch of options. The list I'm going to show you plays Twin Energy. That is 2 colourless energy, so it'll pay the attack cost in one go. And it then plays Capture Energy. When you attach it, you get to search your deck for a basic Pokemon and bench it. And then a single copy of Lightning Energy, so if you want to attach with Zeb Striker, you can. We can skip the Lightning Energy, alright? It only does 60 damage, let's not get excited. I will mention Chinchino, way better attacker than Zeb Striker. There have been games I have been really happy I'm playing Chinchino, because I get to finish off a Pokemon while accelerating energy, or take a kill on a really weak Pokemon while accelerating energy, and it's kind of awesome and brilliant and I love it. But we have to bring in one trainer card as we're talking about energy here, because the deck does play 4 copies of Counter Gain. Obviously, the deck needs to play as many tools as it can. Now, Counter Gain, if you're behind on prizes, reduces your attack cost by 1 colorless energy. I'm not that sad about Counter Gain going away. I mean, we can just play triple acceleration energy, and that will pay the attack cost in one go. We've seen a bunch of Pokemon that attack for a double colorless energy. I mean, things like Poltergeist from that Mad Party deck. And essentially, all of those decks generally just go, oh, I'll play Twin Energy and Triple Acceleration. They don't play Capture Energy, and they get away with it just fine. So I honestly don't think it's a huge problem here. It is a change we're making to the deck, but it's something to point out. Now, we need to be playing a bunch of tools. What tools are we playing? Now, annoyingly, we are losing Adventure Bag. That is an item card that lets you search out your tools. But again, if you're playing lots of tools, you should draw into them. And you know what you could play instead of Adventure Bag? Well, you could play that green that lets you search for a tool every turn. Or 4 more tools. And then you'll just draw into your tools nice and easily. I'm really not that worried about Adventure Bag leaving. Now, the tools we play Lucky Egg, lets you draw until you got 7 cards if the Pokemon with Lucky Egg gets KO'd. So that's a fun one. We've got Giant Bomb. If you would take 180 or more damage, you get to put 10 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So that's kind of fun. We got Vitality Band, lets you do an extra 10 damage, and Air Balloon that reduces your retreat cost by 2. We could play more tools here. We've got room with Adventure Bag and Counter Gain going away. We've got room for more tools here, and it is absolutely something we could be having a play around with. In terms of Pokemon Search, we're playing Quick Ball to get your basics, and Evolution Incense to go ahead and get our evolutions. Who could possibly have seen that coming? And then we've got a copy of Ordinary Rod here to get our Pokemon back. There are also a couple copies of Acrobike. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand, discard the other. That's obviously quite nice for draw, but potentially also quite nice for hitting a tool card and then ending up discarding it. It's really not the end of the world. Again, it's a card we'd like to keep, but we can't have it all, ladies and gentlemen. We can't have it all. And we end up... Oh, and obviously, Professor's Research is clearly your supporter card of choice here because it discards your hand and draws 7 cards. So you're trying to discard all of your tools while drawing into more tools. This is an absolute no-brainer. Honestly, I would recommend trying to add a Pow Pad or 2 in here so that you can play Professor's Research every turn, because it is, in this particular list, the only supporter card that they're playing. I think we could play a couple more. Don't forget, we've also got the card Hapu, which would work as an extra supporter card here. That's the one whereby you look at the top 6 cards of your deck, put 2 in your hand and discard the rest. If you're playing enough tools, Hapu will be great. And if we take a look at the deck list as a whole, if you want to dismiss this really easily, fine, you can. We're losing Zebstrika, we're losing Adventure Bag, we're losing Counter Gain. We're losing Acrobike. These are fairly large losses. But I think Zebstrika can turn into Chinchino, and I think we can play Duskull, and I think we can play a better, more aggressive supporter line. And we can just play a couple more tools instead of Adventure Bag, instead of Counter Gain. And actually, I think at that point we're potentially on to a really good deck. No, it doesn't survive the rotation unscathed. But that's why I've spent a lot of this video going out of my way to really have a very specific chat about, right, here is how we can fix it. Here is how we can make sure that this deck is still potentially viable after rotation. Because I don't want anyone to just turn around and go, well, a couple of cards rotate. Deck's trash. Get it, Garbodor? Trash. Not even worth playing. Why did you waste our time with this video, Wassy? That was not my goal. My goal was to go, look, this is a really fun new Pokemon. Here is a pre-rotation interpretation of it. And then while we're doing that, here is a big old discussion about what we can actually go ahead and do to try and make sure that post-rotation it can work, so that we're not just dismissing it as a pre-rotation deck. I hope we've done that. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this deck. I want to know how you would make it work post-rotation. And I'd like to know if you think it's got a chance to go and be good in the future. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.